Well, what is up, everyone, and welcome back to Cryptographics. Today, I am so excited. I'm a huge car fan. I'm a huge race fan. I've been building cars and driving cars like a madman when I was younger. And finally, today, I get to speak to my people. I get to speak to the Hex.com race team, which is Topcats. And let me bring them on. I got Big Paul. I have Charlotte Birch, Charlotte Gilbert, Warren Gilbert, all with me today. Guys, girls, thank you guys so much for being here. I am so excited to have this pre-documentary release party for the crazy season you guys just had.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we're pleased to be on and pleased to be doing this before the documentary goes live. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we get into all the season, what is it? What was the reasoning behind doing a documentary for this season? Because I know it was obviously quite successful. There was lots of ups and downs within the season, but what cued the documentary for the race team?
I think because we've built up quite a following this year, and mainly to do with Hex, because because we're in the Hex colours, we've got quite a big following now. We've always got 20 or 30 Hexicans at the races. Some of them can, some of them can't make it, and some of them so people have been asked lots of questions, and people want to know more about everything, and it's been such an exciting journey. As you'll see in the documentary, there's lots of highs and lots of lows, and we just wanted, for anybody that was missing anything or wanted to know more about us, or it's such an exciting journey, we just want to share that and for people to see what's happened from the very beginning of this year and how it all started to the end of the season.
Amazing.
I think it's also sort of something that we've never done before. This sort of thing is only recently become accessible to smaller companies like ours. I mean, years ago, if you did something like this, it would cost tens of thousands of pounds to do. So it was quite a cool thing to do. We've done some really good launches. We've done some TBR launches, and we've done lots of launches at the workshop. We never really done anything like this. So it was a really good thing to have a go at and see how we got on with it. And I think it's worked out really well, actually. It's really good.
I mean, I've been looking at the footage all morning trying to get clips for this stream, and it looks awesome. Whoever did the editing and the videography for it did you guys justice. It looks amazing. But before we get into all the footage, let's just quickly go around the room. Big Paul, Charlotte, Warren, Charlotte, if you guys want to just start, just give like a quick little overview of who you are, what your role is on the team, and yeah, we'll go from there.
From the top, go on, Paul.
Okay, I'll start then. Hi, I'm Big Paul. I've been with the team for 18 years. It's not my, yeah, that's all. It's not my main job. It's sort of like a hobby stroke lifestyle choice, we should say. On my main job, I'm a design engineer for Jaguar Land Rover. So that's what I normally do. But as when I'm in with the team, basically do car management. So I manage one of the cars. There's another guy called Darren who manages the second car. And also organise the chaps, the rest of the mechanics, make sure everyone's in the right place, doing the right thing. And I'm also responsible when the car's racing. So I'm on a headset talking to the drivers during the race, working out strategy, pit stops, and, any safety cars and that type of stuff. So, yeah.
Sounds like you need 50 hands for the job you have there.
Yeah, we do. I've got used to it over the years.
Right. That's awesome.
Charlotte?
Yeah, I'm one of the Charlotte's team for this year. I've only done just the one season with Topcats. Yeah, it's been a big learning curve for me, coming from a car that's like polar opposite to the Lamborghini. It's been a steep learning curve. And then obviously switching to the Ginetta pretty much halfway through the season. So I've driven different kind of types of cars this year. The Ginetta, is obviously a lot closer to what I've been driving before. But yeah, the Lambo was just something else. But yeah, steep learning curve for me. But yeah, it's been good.
The thing looks like a monster. I've been watching a lot of the footage, and it looks like a beast to handle. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it takes some doing, but yeah, it's a nice car to drive.
Absolutely. What about you, Warren?
So myself and Charlotte have been running Topcats Racing for about 20 years. Most of the cars that we've both driven, myself and my wife Charlotte, are very analog. So there's not really any driver aids and any help with them. They're really very raw, and they're actually very rare type of cars to drive now. And then if you want to drive a car like the cars we have been driving, you really end up doing historics because those cars are still analog. So our fastest of our analog cars up to now has been the Marcos, and we've sort of driven that, both of us, myself and Charlotte, have driven that for a good few years, myself a little bit more than Charlotte, and that was a big stepping stone for us as well to get into the Lamborghini, because the Lamborghini is so much more automated than the Marcoses were. I mean, to give you an idea, the Marcoses have got about 600 horsepower and zero driver aids, none at all. So they're a bit of a beast to drive. So it was also a big stepping stone for us to try and adjust to driving something where you brake a lot later, you trust the aero and that sort of thing. And I think for everybody, everybody's adapted really well. All three of us and Jensen, the four of us, have adapted really well to the Lamborghinis. And we've I think in the 2 seasons we've proved a lot in the cars. So that's where we've come from. Charlotte?
Bit of what Warren said. So we're both Warren and I quite long in the tooth. I'm not going to say how old we are or anything like that, but my racing has been very on and off over the years, and in fact 2020 last year was the first year I've ever done a full season of racing, although I've done races here and there over the years, but it was really exciting to get back into the markers. Like Warren said, it's a fiercely fast and ferocious car, and that was what I did in 2020 and 21, and it was actually a really good grounding for me to step into something very modern like the Lamborghini. And having come out of that, I had a really, really physical car, changing gears and heel and toe braking, which some people might know what that technique is. It's like patting your head and rubbing your tummy and driving one-handed because you're changing gear and things like that. But when you step into a modern car like the Lamborghini, you're literally just touching the paddles for change up. It's what they call auto blip. So you get that blip of power when you change down gears, and it's got traction control and ABS, and it's all fully adjustable. And so getting into a car like that from the car that we used to driving was just pretty much luxury. So the initial getting used to the car felt fantastic and really comfortable. It's just getting that next bit is you can get to a certain pace, but it's just then trying to find that little bit that separates you from everybody else, which is what I think we're all kind of still working on a little bit, but we get little trying to go along. So, but it's been, it's the best car I've ever driven. It's without a doubt in the 20 years, let's say, of racing on and off. This year with the Lamborghini is the best year I've ever had. It's the most exciting, most fantastic racing I've ever done, bar none. So.
That's amazing. I was going to ask too, like, the amount of adjustments that sounds like you guys had to make to come to the Lamborghinis, like as a team, in the back end and the front end, what were the big adjustments going from more of an analog style of driving to something that's completely digital, completely like engineered from the ground up to be basically programmed in the back end with all the basically the ECU, all the electronic parameters controlling the car? Like what was it like as a team adapting to something like that massive of a change overall?
Well, Warren, you can answer that because we have run Lamborghini before, and other sort of fairly technical cars. They would just happen to be driven by other people. But Warren, if you want to explain more of that.
I think you've got to really get round all the electrical systems. So the car is run by a Motec. It's an Australian ECU, electronic control unit, and that you interrogate via a laptop. So we have Paul looks at some of the data and sends a request to our data engineer, and then he looks at it and plugs in and tests everything. There's very little you can do, the old-fashioned way, just looking in there and grabbing hold of something. There's so many electronics in there now, and so many sensors you have to plug in. So Danny is one of our youngest full-time employees, or he is our youngest, and he has pretty much self-taught himself Motec in I guess 18 months.
Wow.
And he's done really well. He's been on no courses. And he's learned so much, and we did have the girls' car had an issue, a really hard to find issue that he tracked down at Brands Hatch at the beginning of the year. It didn't really affect the performance, but what it could have done is affected the longevity of the engine. So it was a really, really important thing to find, and he found that, and we got it sorted, and the car was fine. So, that was for the team the biggest thing. Was getting round the electronics, and also the other thing that was getting round is the cars are so big. They are absolutely ginormous. I mean, even when you got one in the lorry, you can't walk down the side of it. So we had to make adapters so that we could hook the straps on. Just the simplest things. They're really low. They if the ramps aren't dead smooth, they all the front of the car catches. And I guess those are the sort of things that we had to adapt to. Every car, though, as a professional race team, every car is just four wheels and an engine. So, really, if you've got decent engineers, you should always be able to work around it. But it's just adjusting for those little bits. And the boys have done great. We've had 100% success record of finishes, so no breakdowns. So it's been pretty good.
Adding to the complication of these cars being so data led and not something where you can just lift the bonnet up and have a look and look at it mechanically. Most of the issues are actually digital, and just in Danny's all praise to Danny. There's a huge amount of pressure on him because a lot of it has to be fixed on a computer. And I do remember in qualifying at Donington, the second race, where that initial problem had started, is actually come in because I had a gear selection problem, couldn't get the car to go into gear. So this is the middle of qualifying. Literally, you come in, you pit stop, and he plugs in. The computer, he's tapping away on the computer trying to solve the problem, and it's a huge amount of pressure, so fantastic. He does it, gets on the computer, unplugs it, it's working again. Amazing.
If something goes wrong with my car, I just shout at Big Paul and tell him to get it sorted.
Sounds about right. And I shout at Danny. I'll push it down the food train.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Just slowly push it off. Yeah. I got a couple clips here I want to bring up that are a little bit earlier, it seems, and it's without the Lambo without a wrap on it, and also a lap I want to bring up, and just want to get your guys' commentary on when this was and what was happening during this time. So I'm going to play the clip right now here.
All good? Guys, all good?
And one more. Yes, before we play this, okay, real quick. So that was the Lamborghini. When was that? Was that like the first kind of, that was Silverstone, I believe?
Yeah.
Shall I answer that one?
Yeah.
It must have been cold because I got trousers on.
So that was the very first test at Silverstone when we got the car.
That was 2021.
Right.
Yeah. And I remember we started it up in the workshop and just revved it a little bit, and not really to its max or anything, just really gentle, really nervous. And I remember being in the lorry, and the boys fired it up in the garage for the first time and warmed it properly, and they just revved it. And I was sitting in there putting my overalls on, and I thought, I don't even want to go out. I'm so frightened. I didn't want to go out. And then eventually, but when I did, and I drove it out the pit lane, and I just thought, it's a pussycat, really, compared with our other car, the Marcos. It was a little bit damp, and it didn't really wheel spin. It's got traction control and everything, and it's just so lovely to drive. I think Charlotte mentioned, it's so smooth. It's not really the power, the speed that's the scary bit. It's the aero and the brakes. That's where the real skill comes in. But that was the very first test when we got the car.
That's awesome. So then from that test, then we have this qualifying lap that I want to show. And it's an awesome lap. You look like you're flying. It looked like it was a lot to handle, maybe like one of the first 13 laps or so that you've done up to that point. And I'm going to play the clip right now. Just flying.
So
Say that again, Charlotte?
Huh?
Oh, I couldn't quite hear you there. It was just cutting out a little bit. What did you say? Sorry.
I can't tell whether that's Jensen or Warren driving because that was early last year. So that was your first time driving the car, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that was me driving because I remember the lap time. So that was I
could tell that was you driving.
Unfortunately, I didn't repeat that this year, but that was Silverstone, and that was the pole lap, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Paul? Is it?
No, that was a test. That was testing.
Was it the 104? Okay,
yeah,
the 204. So yeah, that was testing.
2023 just commented, no, it was me. I think that's Jensen. Just commenting saying it's him.
Oh right, okay, cool. Well, it's Jensen.
Jensen was 5 seconds faster. If it was Jensen, no. Yeah, but that lap was definitely the first shakedown at the test day because we was on the national circuit.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh right, okay. So that wasn't the GP circuit.
Lap.
Say again.
I said, were you actually watching the lap?
Well, I was watching the lap, yeah, but I was looking at the time actually, and I saw the 4 come up, and I thought that was because we did a 4 on the GP circuit, but it must have been a 204, so different circuit.
Yeah.
So yeah, Charlotte B is correct. I'm always wrong.
Yeah, you are. Oh dear.
Oh, that's awesome. I got another clip here I want to show from Charlotte B's lap, and I thought this was awesome. You know, is a stellar lap, and the ending is amazing. There's NSFW, just warning. Not safe for work. There's a little bit of.
This is Charlotte Gilbert's lap, I think. Is it Seston one?
Oh, it'll be mine.
Okay, yeah. This made me. I love this. I gotta show this because this is another great lap that I saw, and we just have to go over it. So here we go. This is Charlotte G's lap at. Is it Silver? No, which lap is this?
Netterton.
Depends
Okay,
on the
right.
language.
All right, here we go. absolutely awesome.
I think you're quite pleased.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was we always, Charlotte and I, before any race, Darren is usually our radio guy, so he we have our own little private chat group with just me, Charlotte, and Darren in preparation of a race meeting, the next race that's coming up. So Darren would look at all the data and compare it against Warren and Jensen's from the previous year, because they were already a year ahead of us. So Darren would say, right, I've looked at the lap times. Your target lap time is such and such. So we would be really happy if we could meet that target lap time, so that we know we're on par with the boys. We're comparing data. And Darren had told me I needed to be a mid 54. That was the aim for the weekend, to try and get into mid 54. And then basically what you have in your car is you have all the data in front of you, so you get sectors, time sectors, so you can see where you're in your lap time. So every sector I could see, I was on every sector as I was going around the circuit, and I knew last time as I'm coming straight that I think I've done it, and just coming across the line and seeing that I'd done a 53.9, so I'd exceeded what my target lap time was. So as any racing driver is, you're so pumped up, you're completely elated, and unfortunately mine translates into swearing.
All I heard was enthusiasm and passion. That's all I heard. Oh, it's just awesome. So I want to ask you guys to transition just to the actual sponsorship side of things and the team itself. So normally there's this traditional sponsorships, of course, and I've listened to you guys talk about, how difficult it can be, or the typical way that sponsorships act, once you've had them on the team, like what they want out of, like, they just want tickets, or they just want like free advertising. What's been the biggest difference between traditional marketing and being with the and having Hex.com on the car and having the community around the team?
I think that you just said the word is community. It's a very different prospect to going to a company where you speak to a person. This is as you know, this is a massive community where we're talking to hundreds of different people, and we have, we probably had 100, 200 different people come to our racing that are from the Hex community. So it's a very different prospect for us. It's a different dynamic to the normal partnerships that we have with sponsors and things like that.
Right. Yeah. I know that if you've been on Twitter at all, you've probably seen how passionate the Hex community is. So, and I've heard on previous streams too, how many people are flying in, people are coming to check out the cars. I mean, it's totally unique. And what's been the sense from the actual racing community in general? Has there been people talking about the difference in Topcats Racing this year with the community versus previous years? Like, has there been any chatter behind the scenes on the difference with Topcats having Hex around?
I know we're a lot busier.
Right.
We're without doubt, we're the busiest team in the whole paddock, because we have so many people. We're a very open team, and we love the fact that people want to come and support us. So they are always welcome in our pit garage. So we try and look after everybody. They come and sit down the tables with us, and they get given tea and coffee and all that sort of stuff. So it is very different like that.
That is
I think
awesome.
We've also gained quite a lot of extra publicity. I mean, when we went to the first round with the Hex livery on the car, the commentators came. It was on the actual footage that GT Cup goes on YouTube, and the commentators were just going crazy, saying they were the best looking cars in the paddock, and that's really great, and that generated with the Hex community. And as we've gone through this year, especially, there's been more and more Hexicans coming down to the races. I mean, to the extent of the last round, there was loads of them, and we didn't have enough room. It was really, really good. Great support, really good support.
Yeah, well, the cars look absolutely stunning. Like, even the wrap, whoever designed that wrap, or is it a wrap, or is it an actual paint? It's a wrap. Okay, so whoever designed that wrap did a phenomenal job. The Ginetta looks amazing. The Lambo looks amazing. Like, I think you could put that on almost any car, and it ups the ante for that car by a couple grades for sure. It looks so good.
Well, I think we can thank Jensen for that, because Jensen found the guys that did the design and the wrap, and he put forward what he wanted, and they came up with, I think, 4 or 5 designs. And they did this the first year, and then they exceeded themselves the second year. And he picked the design that we were going to have, and he absolutely nailed it. You know, he picked a really good design. So yeah, down to Jensen.
That's awesome. Shout out to Jensen.
Nice.
Real quick here too, I got a question from the Pulse Tube. Did you sense any jealousy from the other teams?
Maybe so popular. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. I mean,
I don't think so. We race still it's still a club level racing. So I think a lot of teams are jealous of us about the amount of work we do and the least amount of people that we got, and how we go about our business. And our cars are always prepared. They're always there. We never make any mistakes in pit stops and things like that, you know. So, but I think a lot of the teams are there to help each other. So if you've got another team running another Lamborghini or whatever, and they need a part that we've got, or vice versa, then have you got this? Yeah. Then, yeah. So I don't think there's any jealousy. It's just we're not at that level, so it's not quite Formula One level. So
I still think though that it's harder for the girls than it is for myself and Jensen though, because I still think there's the attitude out there that you know, if we have a spin or you know, make a mistake or something, that hardly anybody gives a monkeys. But you always think that everybody's looking out for the girls to make a mistake and, you know, something to happen. So I think there's more pressure on them. And especially driving, you know, the Lamborghini, being at the sharp end of the field rather than, you know, the slower cars and being at the back. And they are, they're the only 2 ladies out there, and certainly the only 2 ladies in a team, you know, driving the same car.
Competitive.
Yeah,
only 2 that are competitive.
Yeah,
there are a couple of others out there, but yeah, they're off the pace.
But I think it's harder for them than us.
As well, saying about Jesse, we're very biased, I know, but we have a very family orientated team, and we're massively inclusive. Like I said, we are with Hex, but also we're not selfish. So we have our chief engineer Brian is called upon not just by our team, but we get lots of other people in other teams coming up to ask for our help. And Brian is always there to help other teams if they're in trouble. We always help them out. You know, we want people out there. We want them to be competing. So Brian is. We're very lucky to have him, but he's an invaluable source to so many of the other teams at the pit lane as well. That all culminated. We had our awards, champion awards for GT Cup, and Brian was awarded what they call the Sparkies Cup, which is awarded to the person who most deserves it and has the spirit of the championship for that year. And he won that this year. And quite often it goes to the drivers, but they made a specific choice with him because he is so selfless and he's been so helpful to other teams at the pit lane. So, you know, jealousy isn't a necessary thing, but you know, we all work together. It's nice to help all the teams.
Yeah, I can attest for that too. You know, I haven't been around motorsports instead of racing cars, but when I was younger, about 6-7 years ago, I was able to race motocross for a couple of years. And one of the first things I noticed was at races, like I had a YZ125, my bike blew up on me, and this couple that my friends knew very, very well, they heard that my bike blew up. They came to me and said, "Hey, we have a spare bike. Do you want to use it?" Like I had played hockey, I had played all sorts of individual sports, or team sports before. And no camaraderie like that. And so that was my first experience. And it's amazing. It's so cool to see someone be able to just reach out like that and just help, even though you're racing against them. You know, so that's why I love, you know, motorsports, and here that's awesome.
And that's what you want to do. You want to be you actually want to be racing them on. You know, you want those people. That's where the fun is on the track. You know. Exactly.
Charlotte Birch, what's it like being one of the youngest? I'm assuming one of the youngest competitors, but also being a woman in this league essentially. And how's it been for you over the last year? And then Charlotte as well, like the question really goes to both of you. And how is it really when it comes to competing with the boys? You know, how much pressure do you guys feel? Is it on yourself? You know, how's your experience been?
Yeah, I don't think the age and gender thing that doesn't really it's not really something you think about. I don't think. I like Warren said, you do have a bit more of a target on your back being the girl, but I don't really think about it much, to be honest. Once the visor's down, like it's just other people you want to beat, so it's not a gender thing or an age thing. Like, yeah, people might, like Warren said, call you out a little bit more if me and Charlotte mess up, but
we did mess
not
up.
really, it doesn't get in your
You
head or
didn't
anything.
mess up this year, you two.
Yeah.
Nice.
The boys
Well,
messed up.
they're kind of waiting for you to mess up. They're waiting for you to do something wrong, and then blame it on your gender or your age or whatever. But yeah, it's not really something I think about, to be honest.
It's totally fair.
I'm conscious of it because we are very much in the minority, and I are the young ones that sort of come up through the ranks. So maybe Charlotte doesn't notice it as much because I'm seeing my boys are karting, and I'm seeing a lot of girls in karting, and they're sort of coming through the ranks now. I'm a bit older than that. I never really saw any other women racing. I've always only ever raced against men. I've never raced against another woman. So I'm probably more conscious of it. And I do know that that there is a bit of an eye on you to see how well you're doing compared to men. But I think we've disproved any sort of deficit between us and the men, really, especially in this sort of category of racing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, look at the footage. Every single one. If I didn't have name tags on any of those cars to see who was in what, I mean, like, you're all flying out there. It's so cool to watch. It doesn't seem like there's any disparity between anyone for any reason other than just like skill. That's all it comes down to in the car, and just decision making. So it's awesome to watch. Let me see here. I've got a couple trailers here because we're here because we've got about 25 minutes till you guys have your documentary being released. So I think it'd be fun to play a little trailer here for about 30 seconds or so to get people hyped up. And also, too, where is this documentary going to be released as well? I didn't get the link actually before the stream, which I should have done, but I didn't.
Paul, can you answer that one?
It's on YouTube. I'll put, there's a Hex Racing. Yeah, Hex. If you search Hex Racing on YouTube, it'll be on there.
Oh, there it goes. Okay, let's see. I want to see if I can find.
There's a few other videos on there.
Oh no.
The Hex Racing 2023 YouTube channel. I think it's quite a new channel. It's just
trying to do it back to front. Can you see that?
I can see it. I don't see the documentary. It's not released yet. Okay, the Hex Racing 2023. Okay, there's the channel. Okay, I'm going to put the channel in the comments here. Once it's 12:30 or 12:30 CST. In the next 24 minutes, it's going to be live. Here is the link. And as a little bit of hype before it goes live, we're going to play trailer 1. Here we go. So cool. So cool. So I wanted to ask you guys, how much work goes into these races before how much work goes in before a race or after? Hold on. Sorry, I'm getting my words all mixed up here. Uno momento. How much work goes in before and after a race during the season? Like, is it like when you guys are going from race to race, is it just nonstop, just action packed? And then when it's off season, you're just planning. Is that how it goes?
Okay, so the end of the season, the car is rebuilt and stripped down, cleaned up, and quite a few components replaced. Throughout the season, on a modern racing car, most of the components are lifed, which makes it a little bit easier. So on a certain amount of hours or kilometers, you know what you need to change. But the crux, and I think what makes us quite successful in racing, is that we believe that these races are won and lost back in the workshop. So, all too often we see cars wheeled out of the back of a truck that look as though they haven't really been touched since the last race. And it's the prep that's done at the workshop that Brian and the boys and Kez and Danny do at the workshop that makes the difference to how the cars run, at the racetrack. Recently, we got the Ginetta, which Charlotte B mentioned earlier, and we had that car for I think 5 days, and it was a track day car, and we had to go right through it and turn it from a track day car to a race car, and then it went on to get I think 8 wins, 8 fastest laps, and didn't miss a beat for the last two rounds of the championship. And that was really good. That was a really lovely feeling for the whole team to have so much success with something so new. So most of it's done back at the workshop, basically.
Right. That's I feel like there's a phrase that it's eluding me right now, but that makes perfect sense. All the logistics mean so much. Everything behind the scenes.
PP.
Sorry?
I don't know if you heard the PPP phrase. Perfect.
The PPP.
PP.
Right. There it is. Yep, exactly.
I won't carry on the rest.
All right, let me see here. I got a bunch of questions here I wanted to ask you guys as well. So, who has the best pre-race ritual? Either a driver or back end. Does anyone have any pre-race rituals, or anyone that's not here has any rituals or anything crazy that they do to get prepared for a race?
It's my job. It's just hard enough to get the drivers ready to get in the car.
Right.
Towards the end of the year, I picked up using blaze pods. So they're like these little circle pods that you stick on the side of the lorry or whatever, and they do your reaction times. And I got into a habit. I had to get a certain score 3 times in a row, and then I had these little energy shot gel things. So I think I'd have 2 of them and then try and get that score 3 times in a row, and I'd do it until I got that score. I started doing that sort of midway through the season. I think it worked quite well, but yeah, apart from that, that's it really.
I have a slightly gimmicky one that I've never admitted to.
Here we go.
When I'm in the car, I put my gloves on and I do this like that on all my fingers. And I'm now because I do it every time I go racing, I'm now scared not to do it if I don't do it before I go out. I do it all the time before.
The superstition's kicking in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny. Is anyone else does anyone in the back end who's not a driver have anything weird or quirky that they do to get prepared? Like, I guess another question for Big Paul: how stressful is it on the back end compared to, or is there nerves or anything that comes up from being on the crew that comes up before the race that you're constantly battling with? Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as the cars are our responsibility, really. If they break down or something goes wrong and the wheel comes off or something silly, you think, but you have to make sure it's right. For me personally, I normally disappear to the back of the lorry for 10 minutes and work out the pit stop strategy in my head, make sure the times are done. I write them on my hand in the same place to the second. So I know exactly in the prep. That's my biggest job during the race is actual pit stops. And they're time pit stops and we get penalties if we're short. So, and obviously you lose a lot of time if you're long. So we actually try and get those down to a fine art. So it's the same as Formula One where they're a couple of seconds, but we might be 1 minute 30. So you have to hit that 1 minute 30 within a second, or we've actually got it down to 0.4 of a second sometimes. So that's how quick we can get it down. But yeah, just relax. I'll just make sure all the guys are right. We've got the right wheels and tires ready for punchers and spares, and make sure the car's ready to get out onto the grid so we don't get penalties that way. So yeah, I have a little 10 minutes for myself in the back of the lorry. So that's my ritual. I don't know about the other guys. Probably have a cup of tea and a cake, I expect. make sure they got a cup of tea going.
We have until Warren had his crash later in the season, Warren and Jensen had Paul as their radio guy, and Charlotte and I had another guy in our team called Darren. And Paul and Darren are quite different, aren't you? Really, Darren is very
tiny.
Yeah, he's very specific. He prepares you before you. I mean, Paul does as well, but Paul's used to working with Warren, and Warren's a bit more relaxed about things. But I got used to working with Darren, and he would basically give you maybe a 20-minute warning before you need to get in the car, and then he'll go through a ritual of like a countdown, almost minute by minute, and just to sort of physically and mentally prepare you. So everything is always exactly the same. And then once you're in the car, he'll stand in front of your car, and he would sort of go 4 minutes, and you know what he's talking about. And then he'll go 2 minutes, so you know you've got 2 minutes before you have to drive out of the garage. So everything was always exactly the same with Darren, and it would almost sort of just it's like a preparation for you as well. So you're sort of gradually getting yourself, your mind into the right mindset as you're getting ready to go out onto the circuit.
Right. Yeah, I can imagine mental preparation, and even having someone or having consistent operations all the time is probably super easy for like your mental, the mental side of the game coming into a race. And on that front too, it's how do you guys all? I know we kind of spoke a little bit about it, but before a race, how do you mentally prepare? Really, like how do you get yourself from regular life into the zone of like, okay, it's go time, flat out, let's win. Like, how do you get yourself and lock yourself and stay focused during a race?
Who wants to answer that? I don't know. I think so. On a longer term thing, Warren. I think Warren's very different to maybe I. Warren's a. Can we say gung ho? Perhaps Warren doesn't need any. Warren doesn't need any. But Charlotte and I think we both have very strict fitness regimes. So we both gym, we both prepare physically. Warren's more seat the. Admittedly, you're more seat the pants. Warren, really, I'd say. Am I right?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm a little bit. You know, I mean, the two Charlottes, without doubt, are the modern race drivers, and I'm not. I like running with Paul because it's very relaxed. I don't go to the gym and do exercising. I'm a bit of an old school type of driver, and I guess I do drive to the seat of my pants. You know, I get in the car and I don't really have any focus with the other cars that are around me. I go out there. Always go out to win, even though I know I can't because there's faster cars in front of us, and I'm always chasing my own lap times. So, you know, every time I get in the car, I expect that I must go quicker than I've gone before, whether it's the same year before, whatever. I must go quicker all the time. You know, so it's a slightly old school way of driving. I probably couldn't do it the way the girls do it. They're very, very organized, very fit, very regimented. And it's to me, that's why I probably work well with Paul, because he understands how I like to drive and lets me get on with it, really. So, yeah, they're the modern ones. I'm not.
Definitely.
Well, it shows. I mean, the regiment really shows. You guys are absolutely killing it. And I mean, it's impressive. So if that's what it takes, I mean, it's working really, really well.
Yeah, I mean, when there's so many people in the pit garage as well, it can get very, very busy. And sometimes it can be quite tiring as well, because you spend a lot of time talking to people because there are so many people. And you show them around the car and you talk about your racing. And so probably maybe 15, 20 minutes before you know you're due to the car. I know I do. I'll probably go and hide away. I'll just go and sit in a corner and just sort of stay out of the way just to get yourself calm and ready, and just stay out of the way and start actually just get your mind in, be ready to race. That
makes perfect sense. That's awesome. Real quick, I know we're kind of coming up on, it's about 13 minutes away from the documentary releases. I want to play a little 4.5-minute clip here of, I think this is it Silverstone? I can't remember which one this is here, but it's a great clip. And I think everyone watching right now is going to love it. So we're going to take a quick pause, watch this for 4 minutes, come back, and we're going to talk about the future of Topcats and going forward, what the future looks like for the team. So here we go.
Hi, I'm Jensen, and this is Topcats Racing. Hi, I'm Warren, and this is Topcats Racing.
Hi, I'm Charlotte and this is Topcats Racing.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Gilbert and this is Topcats Racing.
So just finished the endurance race, which we won, which we're pleased about. It was a tough race for us both me and Warren. But yeah, really pleased to have won. It was all down to the last few seconds at the end of the race, but we pulled it off. And really pleased to be showing off, obviously, the Hex.com cars in front of this massive crowd this weekend. So as a team, yeah, we won. Really pleased.
Recently just finished the afternoon's feature race. I started and Charlotte was going to take over from the pit stop, so I started the race. The weather conditions weren't ideal, it was spitting, we didn't know whether to go slicks or wets. We opted for the wets just to be on the safe side because we thought it might rain more. It didn't really, it was kind of dry for most of it, so I had treaded tyre for the beginning, and then as the laps went on, the tread was getting less and less, and those that had opted to go for the slicks were getting quicker and quicker, and I was getting slower and slower. The car was just getting harder and harder to handle, so not the best result. Did as much as I could from that side of things to get the car around, get where we were. It was quite exciting because I had a bit of a fight with the Ferrari, managed to get past him, and then handed over to Charlotte at the pit stop. So all in all, not too bad because we bagged points for the weekend again, but we're so really now looking forward towards Snetterton, see what we can do there.
So it's been another really great weekend here with Topcats Racing at Brands Hatch. Just a massive thank you to Hex.com and all the Hexicans that have come down to support us. Hoping to see a load of you guys again at Snetterton in a few weeks' time.
Hi everybody, another fantastic weekend. Both cars have finished all 4 races, so we had a really good there. A lot of points this weekend. Girls did really well. It was absolutely fantastic to have Hex down both days. A load of Hexicans down here on the Saturday and the Sunday, and yeah, we go home with a wad of points, and we've certainly moved up the table.
After watching that clip, I want to know what memories are coming up, that something that you'd love for people to you'd love to share with people, like a great memory from each of you. Just some like highlight from the season that this clip or something we've talked about brought up. If you want to start there, Big Paul, or anyone, actually whoever would like to start, go right ahead.
That's good, I think, really. Yeah, for me, the part of the season that really stands out was after Silverstone, when Warren had his crash. And then the next race, the very next race, we won it. That was quite emotional because we was right on the back foot, and as a team, and we pulled through. So that's probably my highlight. We come through and won that race.
Yeah, absolutely.
From absolute zero to, we're still here, we're still fighting. Because at the time we had team championships and all sorts still fighting for, and Warren's in hospital, was he doing this, doing that, So so the focus was on the racing for us, and we won. So yeah, that was probably a highlight, and Warren getting better, obviously.
I think for the last round at Snetterton and realization that it was the end of the season, and it was a slightly tough one because Jensen got called away on business on the Sunday, because at that point I was sharing with Jensen in the number 9 car that won the championship, because obviously Warren was still injured. I did the Sunday on my own, so I had to do the sprint on my own, endurance race on my own. As much as I wanted Jensen to be there, I loved the driving, and it was a real challenge for me. And by the end of the endurance race, and that very last lap, I'm coming past the checkered flag, and then realising that was it for the year. And we had, in spite of Warren's crash and everything, we just had the most year. And for me, an amazing year, just the most exciting thing that I've ever done in my life. And then getting out of the car into the pits with all the team there, and I was crying because it's such an emotional thing, really, considering everything that we've done and what we've been through. And in all honesty, I think mainly I wanted it to end. I didn't want to have to now sit 6 months and wait for next year. I think really.
Charlotte or Warren, do you guys have a memory that you remember, or a memory that you have from the season? That's I know, Warren, you've had quite a season as well with the
I think for me, really, it's not really the one moment from the season. I think it's the whole of the 2 seasons, because the first season is a really important season. The girls weren't driving, but Jensen gave us the opportunity, and Aidan and with all the hexagons, it gave us that opportunity to drive the Lamborghini in the first season. And of course, the first season, it's been quite well documented that Jensen was very poorly at the back end of the season. So it was a really tough season, and the whole team, everybody in the team, not just us, but all the other people that aren't here today on this, pulled together. And then from that, we had this opportunity, and it was an 11th hour opportunity to get the Lamborghini and put the girls in that car, because that was never meant to happen. So the 2 girls were supposed to be driving the Marcos this year, and to get the 2 girls in there and for them to both do so well without any mistakes and everything in their first year with all the spotlight on them. And so that whole thing, and then my accident and how all the team pulled together. So rather than one moment, it's really, for me, it's a 2-year thing. And it's blown me away. I still have to pinch myself how lucky I've been to drive the car as well, as well as the girls. And so for me, it's the whole thing, the whole 2 years. It's just been absolutely unbelievable. And Charlotte?
I think, a similar note to what Paul said. Probably, I know everything that happened with Warren and the accident, but I think on a personal level, Silverstone was my best weekend. Something just clicked with the car, and I had the best race that I've had in a long time in Silverstone. So I think, I know it was not the best weekend for the team, but for me personally and for my own career, I think Silverstone was probably my best performance, if you like.
Yeah, it sounds like there was just so much happening with the season. I know it's a hard question with 2 essential years of just amazing growth and winning and just success, essentially. So thanks for sharing that. Now I gotta ask, because we're on a crypto stream with the crypto guy and we're talking about cars, I gotta ask the question: how many of you guys, after finding out about through either Cromwell or the car itself, at least, you don't have to say whether you're now a Hexagon or not. You don't have to, you don't want to. But I got to ask, how many of you either looked into it and are now interested in Hexagon? You understand it now that the car has come onto the team.
We'll put our hands up and say we all are. We are all officially Hexagon.
Amazing.
I was into crypto before,
Nice.
but I'd never heard of Hex. I've been into crypto for a few years, and it wasn't until I met Aidan and he started talking about Hex. Then I got into Hex. So I've been into Hex before the rest of the guys, but most of the teams now I think into Hex, got some Hex, and
we've got some Hex, and Paul's been teaching us. Big Paul's been teaching us.
Trying.
Nice.
He knows loads more than I do, so he's been helping us with it. But we've got some as well, yeah.
Yeah, I'm your typical crypto punter. You know, you go in, you get on the FOMO, you think, yeah, I'm going to be rich. Where's my Lambo? And then it all goes to shit, and then you go through the bear cycle again. Then then it goes to the moon, then it goes down. So yeah, I've been there, done it. So yeah,
That's
luckily,
awesome.
Luckily, you're wise. Don't keep any money on exchanges.
Yeah, I guess speaking of that, none of you guys were affected by the FTX or anything like that?
I've lost some on BlockFi, not a lot, but yeah, I've been caught up with that because that's gone down the pan as well now, isn't it? So
oh yeah,
a couple of hundred, just a couple of hundred, yeah. So I've moved most of it out, and I didn't realise I had any left on there. To be fair, so I thought I've got some, but yeah. Sorry, what, Shah?
Try and keep track of where it all is.
Yeah, you got loads of wallets, so you've got to spread it about, haven't you? So yeah.
I think another thing
I
was just gonna say, I don't know if you guys have tried it. I tried the new Hex energy drink. I had the first sip of it last week, and yeah, it's really nice. I ordered some. You can get it from the Hex Racing website now. You can order them. You have to order big box of the new energy drink, but yeah, it's really nice.
All right, I'm looking that up right now. I had no idea that.
I'm an engineer.
Yeah, this is Hex energy drink now. They're out on the racing website.
Oh,
that's too funny. Okay, bringing that up. Hold on here. We're bringing that up on stream. That's awesome. Let's see. I think it's gonna be.
There's a page on the website. You can order it from there.
Like, you got to be kidding me. Come on, that's so cool. Oh, so what does it taste like? Does it taste like Hex, or does it taste like fruit punch? Like,
it's like kind of more fruity. It's not like your Red Bull. I think it's a little bit more of a fruity taste to it. But yeah, it's really nice.
That's awesome. Well, I hope they ship to Canada. Oh, they don't ship to. Come on, man. I'm in Canada. No way. Okay, I'm gonna need someone to help me out here. I'm gonna order it to your house, and then you can ship it to me.
Why have they got the Scottish flag and the UK flag? Have they got independence already? Have they?
Oh my god, that's funny.
It's probably the extra sugar. It's probably extra sugar tax they employ in Scotland for these sort of things.
That's too funny, and this is way too cool. There's so many little things that are coming with Hex on it. I mean, it's exciting. I can't wait to try it. I'm gonna try and order some because that sounds really good. Let me close this down. And where's my main tab? So it's now 6:30 your guys' time, 12:30 my time. That means the documentary is live, and everyone should go watch it. And let me see if I had any more thing else for you guys on questions here. Where did my document go? Let's see here. You know, I don't have too much more other than what does the future of Topcats look like going from here? Like, is Hex still on the table for the Lamborghini and the Ginetta for next year? Is there going to be another Lamborghini coming? Like, what's the future of Topcats for the next season look like?
Well, that's all with in the hands of Jensen and Cromwell, but we're talking with them at the moment, and all I would say is watch this space. Let's see what 2023 brings.
Right on. Right on. Okay, so then I would like to say thank you guys so much for being here. Is there anything else in closing remarks that you guys want to say to the community or to the racing fans or anything else?
Keep supporting us, and you're always welcome to come and join us.
Yeah, we'll be definitely out in 2023. So really, just watch this space. We'll be doing a launch as we've done for the last couple of years in the new year. And as Charlotte says, watch this space and see what we've got coming.
Awesome. Big Paul, Charlotte, you guys have any closing remarks?
No, not really. I'm
Right,
going
yeah,
to sit back and watch the documentary.
yeah,
Perfect.
they've just commented it's shipped worldwide, apparently.
Oh, it does
They've just
okay.
commented that. So worldwide.
Canada.
Ordering right after the stream. All right. Well, that's been a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for coming on. It's been a blast to talk racing, about the season, about the Hex community, about crypto. I hope you guys have a fantastic time off. I hope you guys will get well prepared for the next season, and you guys have a just as successful, if not more successful season, and no crashes, no nothing. Everything goes perfect. I hope it's full of success. So thank you guys again. And we're going to close with a trailer, the final trailer that I have here. And then we're going to end this stream. So thank you guys again. Thank you everyone for watching. Everyone who's watched up to now.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thank you very much. We'll speak to you again.
We definitely will. All right, guys. We're going to put the trailer on, and then we're out of here. And that's the wrong one.
The news come in that Warren was in hospital. I'm lucky to be here. I've got quite a few injuries, so I'm out of the seat at the moment.